It is winter in Taipei all of a sudden.
Winter.
We come here live every Friday, 11 o'clock, bring you martial arts news and jiu-jitsu stuff. Tahric, what's up, man?
Not much. How you doing? I'm pretty good.
Just waking up.
Just waking up. Things are pretty good. We're gonna start off with some news. Let me just make sure we are live.
Yeah, let's double check.
Let's just make sure we're live. Yeah, we're live. Yeah. Oh, I could still see I could see a little bit of your sail.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Trying to hang up a hammock to avoid too much sunshine and too much rain.
Yeah.
And we've created a sail. It's crazy. It's a crazy situation. We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
It's a windy day, but to start off, ADCC sold over $2 million in tickets in the first hour. Welcome to the mainstream. You're welcome.
There's a quote from Gordon Ryan. We tried to verify this. We tried to find out how many tickets were sold and whatnot, and the news is not available. So we just got to trust Gordon Ryan. Maybe he's got some insider info. But what is true is that ADCC, it's coming back to Vegas next year. And this is a huge development for the sport, you know? Like last time, ADCC was at the T-Mobile Arena.
They did sell out.
Oh my God.
They did sell out last time,
They
but
sold
not
out last time.
Not this fast.
And it was an incredible production event. And what I really laugh at is like ADCC looked so good. It's so amazing. And then they're still putting out like IBJJF tournaments with the same people a lot of the times. For example, Baby Shark, Diego Hayes, I don't know how to say his name. And they're in these like arenas that are much smaller than the T-Mobile Arena, and there's no people in the crowds. And so ADCC selling tickets this far in advance, and people being very willing to pay the money. And then IBJJF having events where I don't even think you can buy a ticket if you want. I think it's just show up if you want. It's kind of the old business model. And so I really like that ADCC's stepping up, selling tickets, putting on events. And I hope this is the direction of the sport. And Gordon Ryan saying, you're welcome. He has a good point. Like it is in a large part due to him and his success.
And it goes to show the importance of branding and marketing. And it's amazing. It is great for the sport to have a guy like Gordon Ryan, who is not only a great competitor, possibly the greatest of all time, but
probably
one of the biggest trolls on social media.
Yeah.
It's like
not a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a huge troll. He talks a lot about his up and coming opponents. Talks about how much they suck, and how badly he's gonna beat them. And it creates a lot of it puts a lot of eyes on him and the sport in general. So I've had people that don't know anything about grappling have mentioned Gordon Ryan before, and just from his trolling antics, which is good.
Interestingly enough, he has a match coming up with Mason Fowler at a UFC Fight Pass event, and no bad words between them. He says something along the lines of grateful to have the opportunity, fight an American champion, looking forward. Something very, very nice like that.
Yeah, they seem to be nice for each other.
Yeah.
I don't remember what was the guy's name that Fowler fought in the last UFC Open. The guy that breaks people's legs.
Adult Slayer?
The young, yeah. I can't remember his name. The Adult Slayer.
He's got a weird name.
The Adult Slayer. Hold on here.
Adult Slayer, he's a 10th planet, I guess we could say prodigy. He's a young guy, 16, 17 years old, just ripping legs apart.
And he prides himself on breaking legs. And what is his name? Oh, Pat Shagholi.
Pat Shagholi.
Yeah. Fowler beat him. There was talk about. I watched an interview with him about that before his match with Shagholi. He says he didn't really like Shagholi's tactics. You know, some of these guys got to go to work the next day, and but he also thinks that it's just kind of that youthful hubris
Yeah.
that so many of us had at a young age, where you
Yeah.
think these adults are idiots.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
These
No
dumb old
long-term
people don't
thinking.
know anything. Yeah.
And also like getting success. Like how many guys his age are like making money doing something awesome? You know, it's like
Yes.
being in a rock band or like going on tour for a rapper or something. Like
They all
I can really appreciate that.
they
like,
all blow their money and they all make horrible decisions. I think as
Yeah.
anybody that is young and powerful would do.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do the same thing. Well, hopefully this should apply to everybody. I wouldn't do the same thing in my 30s or 40s with money that I would do as like a 16 or 18-year-old.
Yeah, and I think grappling wise as well, you know, Pat Shagholi, he's known as a pure leg locker. And we pulled up a nice article, a nice statistics about pure leg lockers aren't winning at the high level. So in that match with Mason Fowler, what Mason Fowler had to do was avoid leg locks, play defense, and then I believe took his back and choked him.
Yes.
Could be wrong on that, but the point still stands that like to be a high level grappler, of course you need to know some leg locks. Of course that's where the game is at these days, but you need to be well developed in other areas.
Yeah, there was a we went over this article. Is it called "Are Heel Hooks Overrated?" And it's on BJJ Heroes. "Are Heel Hooks Overrated?" A grappling study, and it's going through statistics on how successful heel hooks have been in finishing high level matches or just matches in general. So they go through. So there's data for, I guess, IBJJF and some other competitions on what finishes the match, whether matches are finished due to decision or they're finished due to a submission. What is the submission? Is it an armbar? Is it a rear naked choke? Is it a heel hook? 2017, we have a stat here. Rear naked choke is number one, followed by heel hook. Next is armbar. 2019, rear naked chokes are top, followed by heel hooks, and then followed by armbar. And then we go to the next year, 2022, rear naked chokes, still the king, always will be. Always will be. But heel hooks take a drop. Arm bars are now, again, back to number two in 2022.
Yeah, and I think what this really speaks to is...
Sorry, this is from the ADCC.
These
These are ADCC stats. So you're talking about the highest level grapplers.
And I think what this really demonstrates is there used to be a big knowledge gap between people who play leg locks and people who don't. And that gap has gotten much smaller. You know, it's pretty... You can expect most people in jiu-jitsu these days to have some basic knowledge of leg lock defenses and counters. And so another interesting stat from here is the guy who initiates a leg lock is equally likely to get leg locked. Like leg lock counters are equally as effective as leg lock initiations.
Other than, so there's one distinction. One of the distinctions is if you are using the honey hole position, and if you don't know what the honey hole is, you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, so honey hole's a very common leg lock position, also known as the saddle, also known as cross ashi. His leg is on the inside of my body, and my leg comes across, hence the cross ashi. We put legs together in triangle, and we're attacking this leg here. And so this position, it's very strong. There are lots of counters available, but I'm in a dominant position here with a position that is very easy to counter is 50-50. And what we find is that 60% of people who initiate 50-50 exchanges are the ones who get heel hook.
Yeah, the reason is, I think, is as you start attacking my ankle, there's an ankle right here. There's a heel right here that's already fully exposed. So it goes into this back and forth battle. It is called 50-50 because neither of us really have the advantage unless I really drop my knee to get out of the 50-50 position. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. The knowledge gap. When I started training with Marshall, I was already a purple belt. When I started training with Marshall 3 years ago, he was already well versed in heel hooks and knee bars, and I was just like, "What? What is this?" I had had some exposure to heel hooks a few years back, but I did take a break from jujitsu for 3 years, and it's like I came back and I noticed, wow, everybody's on the legs, which was not really a thing before. A lot of gyms had a rule where no heel hooks are allowed, even in no gi training. Knee bars were only for brown belts and up, and not all schools would want to even train their athletes in those. Some schools had the idea that even though these are not illegal for your level in competition, you should know this. So things like toe holds and knee bars, some schools might start it early, but it wasn't something legal in competition at lower levels, say lower than brown belt. So a lot of people would not be trained in those. Whereas now, as I hit up different gyms and roll in different gyms, pretty much it seems like everybody has some base in leg locking.
Yeah, which
So-
is very reasonable. That's kind of the summation of this article is like leg locks themselves are not the unique path to success, but to have success, you need to be well versed in leg locks, arm bars, and your main focus should be take the back rear naked choke. That's always the goal.
Yeah, and one of the things that why heel hook is also not always successful. If you look at our breakdown of the Mikey Musumeci versus Guntamar Bayandurin
Whoa,
match,
good recall.
where he destroys this man's knees. He actually breaks his foot in the exchange, but Bayandurin doesn't tap. He does go on to lose the match by decision because they have a catch rule in 1FC where anytime a submission is locked in, even if it's not a tap, it's called a catch, which kind of counts as a point towards that
Super
player.
cool rule.
I
love
like
this
it.
rule.
Yeah, I like it. But Bayandurin never taps. So let's say this was a submission only match. He's getting his leg destroyed. He still would not have lost the match.
Yeah, go to overtime.
Yeah, he still would not have lost the match. And with heel hook, yeah, so sometimes people are just not going to tap. So that's a reason why heel hooks are not quite king. I tap to heel hooks because I want to walk. But some people are willing to take it.
And we could say that about arm locks as well. That's why Elio Gracie says, tough man won't tap to joint locks. Tough man go to sleep with a choke.
Yeah,
That's
so
a paraphrase.
the choke is always king, always king. I will say
rear naked,
though,
#1 choke.
rear naked is #1 choke. I will say, with arm locks, there's a point where the ref can jump in and it's obvious. Like when that arm, if you put somebody in a Kimura and that arm snaps, it becomes obvious to everybody watching that it's time for the match to stop. Same with arm bars. Once you see the arm bend the opposite direction, that's an obvious sign to stop. With the heel hooks, the damage is internal. There's no outward obvious signs to see. So the ref is not going to save you usually if you're not tapping to a heel hook, unless the ref also knows these positions very well. The ref is not going to be able to save you.
I would hope the ref knows these positions.
The ref should know these positions well, but if we're talking about, depending on how high the level of competition is, it's likely that the players are going to be more knowledgeable of the positions than the ref. The ref will know what is scoring, and the ref will have some signs of when is danger, but where I should tap to a heel hook is not the same level of stretch as when Marshall should tap to a heel hook. Yes. But putting somebody to sleep,
It's very obvious.
It's very obvious. Yes. Let's see. The next thing that we wanted to touch on a little bit was Marcus Buchecha Almeida. He's a very highly decorated grappler.
Oh yeah.
One of the top. He's been at the top of. I think he's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight in MMA. Right now, he's in 1FC. He's been a top competitor in jiu-jitsu
Many
for a long
time world champion.
Yeah, yeah. One of the top guys. And he has some advice on what can we do about this? He has some advice about, I know what it is. Maybe it's just too far over the wall. Yeah. Real TV. Yeah, he has some advice on just, I guess, the mentality of going into competition or being able to put yourself through something. And I think this mainly applies to competing, but if you're a person who sometimes hates training, sometimes I don't want to train. There are times when I don't want to train.
Yeah.
There are times when I think, why am I here? Why am I putting myself through this punishment? Why am I risking this injury when I'm not going to become a professional grappler?
It's too late for you.
Yes, I'm not going to become a professional grappler. Why am I doing this? So here we see. I think it's interesting always looking into the mind of a competitor or any kind of high level performer or operator, what they're thinking of and how they put themselves through it.
You're gonna read in the accent?
Okay. Why? So when he's going into competition, he feels nervous. He says to himself, okay, why are you doing this? It is not because of my master. It is not because of my parents. It is not because of my friends. It's not because of my team, not because of my flag. No, it is because of me. I choose to put myself in this spot. I put myself outside my comfort zone because I want to put myself there. Because I know I was going after my dreams. I want to be here. I want to do this. I want to feel this energy. I want to feel this nervous.
Yeah.
Embracing the nervousness, I like that. I wanted to feel this nervous.
Yeah.
Here I don't feel nervous. Coming here, I don't feel nervous. But when I go to a gym, I always feel a little bit nervous. Every time I'm going to just roll with a bunch of guys. I don't know who's going to be there.
Yeah.
Competition, I also feel nervous. Basically, any unknown combat situation, it makes me nervous. And
It should.
as I'm leaving work or as I'm leaving the house and I'm packing my stuff, I start to get a little bit, yes. But I know that I want to put myself in that situation, and I want the test that day. And if I don't do well that day, it's going to plan my ego. I'm going to not feel good on the ride home. I'm going to say, why did I tap to that? Why did I put myself in that situation? But overall, it's good.
Yeah, that nervousness, that's a sign of stepping out of your comfort zone. And there's a cliche, all growth happens outside of your comfort zone. And so this is happening to me a lot recently, as I have a match coming up next month against Lin Bo Yu, December 16th in Taipei. I feel a need to train more. I feel some pressure. And then putting that into practice, going to the gym and kind of recruiting guys to come beat me up, it's so uncomfortable. It just sucks. Ego's going crazy. Oh, if I lose here, will I lose there? Oh, if this guy hurts me, will I do this? He shouldn't be able to hurt me because I'm all this ego stuff swirling around.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's kind of what we're after. You know, we want to be in that position because that's where we start growing. And no matter what happens in this match, I'm a better man and a better martial artist from having stepped into that. And that's what we're doing.
This is true. So he continues. At first, I was scared to lose. I am scared of the new guy to beat me up. I have so many fears, but after having this conversation with myself, it really starts changing. And then he talks about after winning. It wasn't just the celebration of another absolute world title. Just another absolute world title.
He's got a few.
It was much more than that. It was me banishing, once and for all, the ghosts of doubt. That I would go back to being the same Buchecha I was before the surgery. It was the certainty that everything I went through was worth it. It was me, once again, making history and not telling it.
Huh?
2016, year of return. Certainly one of the most special titles of my... Oh no, I cut that off.
We are a professional broadcast.
2016, year of his return. I mean, I can't relate to being an absolute world title winner, but
Sounds nice.
yeah, I think you
Sounds
should.
cool.
I think you should celebrate.
Yeah, what we're getting at here is this internal conversation and stepping into the nerves. A lot of people have the silly notion that world-class performers or high-level people don't deal with these nerves because they just kind of see the end product, right? And they don't know, like, I've seen a lot of people backstage just absolutely terrified. And this happens at every level of, we could say, performance, or every level of artist, or every level of anyone stepping out there and really pushing themselves. Every comedian, every musician, every performer, every competitor should be feeling this. If you're backstage before a match or before a performance and you're just chilling, kind of bored, that's a really weird, bad sign. And I've heard a lot of UFC fighters talk about this. The funniest one was I think Pat Barry, where he was just always like panicking before a fight, and when a guy in his corner comes up like, "Yo, I saw the exit. You could just leave right now." He's like, "Are you serious?" Like, "No, man, you gotta fight. Like, you gotta step in there." Even Cowboy Cerrone, he's talking about being in the octagon, always looking just ready, you know, on the surface, always looking ready. You see a picture, see a video, you think that dude's not nervous. But he says when the referee looks at him and says, "Are you ready?" he always wants to say, "No, man, what are you talking about, ready?" So this is a very common experience that a lot of people don't have insight into.
Yeah, George St. Pierre is also famous for. I remember an interview with Roy McDonald, another great, that would say, and Roy McDonald, he says he doesn't get as nervous as George St. Pierre. I don't know if he doesn't get nervous at all. He didn't mention that, but he said that George St. Pierre will go around the gym just talking to everybody, just like saying, "I'm just so scared. I don't want to do this. I'm so scared," which is so funny from possibly one of the greatest of all time, arguably the greatest of all time, that he walks around telling people, "I'm so scared. I don't want to do this. I'm so afraid."
Yeah.
So
George St. Pierre said in his UFC career he never once had a good night's rest, except one time. He got good sleep before a fight, and that's when Matt Serra knocked him out. So there's something to it. There's something to catalyzing this nervousness, expressing it, being honest about it, because it's very human. It's how it should be. You should be terrified to go out of your comfort zone and do things like this.
Oh, you mentioned we almost forgot. You had a question, the recovery question.
Yeah, my brother asking us about recovery. He's in here saying good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
He asked us just vaguely about jiu-jitsu recovery. For me, it always just boils down to the simplest of things, just drinking lots of water and getting lots of sleep. And I think this is kind of like a privilege in my life, is I have lots of time for sleeping. Tahric over here, he's got businesses and kids. I imagine that cuts into some sleeping time, and it gets a little hard. The guy asking this question, he's also got some businesses and some kids, and so I imagine sleeping is a little tricky. But that really is like the number one thing for recovery. Everything else is kind of supplemental to that.
Sleep is number one. Yeah, I would say first of all, the first rule of recovery: don't get injured.
Yes.
How do you not get injured? It has to do. I think it has a lot to do with your style. If you're very intense on the mats, you're more likely to get injured. There's genetic components. For me, lifting weights is a very important part of my injury prevention. I find that when I'm not in the gym as much, the injuries come on more often. So this is preventative before the injury. If you're just talking about recovery in general and not injury specific, but just feeling kind of beat up and needing rest, sleep, hydration are super important.
Yeah. Without those, everything else is not as effective.
Yes.
Everything else is complementary to that. Massages, ice baths, taking days off, things like that. Not as good as sleep.
Yeah. Taking days off is pretty important for me. I think it's something that I'm pretty good at, better than most people at.
Yeah.
I can take days off. Maybe I don't roll, but I would still probably just go to the gym instead. A couple weeks ago, I hurt my neck a little bit while rolling, and I just said, okay, I'm not coming back here until I feel better. Now I feel better, and I can roll, and I'm still a little bit careful. When I feel certain pressure in the direction that I don't want, I might be more likely to tap or more likely to give up the position. But this is also because I am pretty experienced. There are certain things that I can do where I can move out of the way of an injured area, and I think that takes some experience to do. I don't think as a new person you're going to have the ability to know what you can do when you're hurt, and maybe I'm also pushing that. I'm also pushing that what would the word be? That limit? I don't know. I'm also pushing that boundary, but I do have an idea of where that boundary is. So taking time off is a very big part. Eating properly, not drinking. Not drinking is a huge thing because it's such it's everywhere.
Yeah. And what about drinking a little bit? You think that's good?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any amount of alcohol that's good for you. But I do know that it is like kind of a social lubricant, and it is if you're in a social setting where everybody is drinking, maybe some people say it doesn't matter if you don't drink, but I think it does a little bit.
A little bit.
It does a little bit.
You can be a part of the cheers.
Yeah, you want to be a part of things, so that's a hard balance. Like I'm a pretty clean eater. I eat very well, but if I'm out, I'm also not gonna be the guy that says, no, I'm not gonna eat a slice of your stupid birthday cake because it has sugar and carbs in it.
Stupid cake.
I'm gonna eat. I'll take a little slice of the cake, even though I might. This is not something not part of my daily diet, but yeah. So I think recovery is just is rest.
Yeah.
Is rest. You might have there's months where I go in and maybe I've paid for the whole month, and because I got hurt, I'm just going to miss that whole month that I just paid. I just dropped over $100, or what is it like? What is it in dollars? Say like I dropped $120 to train for the month, and I got injured right at the beginning, and I just don't go. Even though I am literally wasting that money, I don't want to.
Donating it.
Yeah, I'm donating it. I'm donating it to a business, to the business owners. But I don't. Yeah, it's not worth it to add to that injury and stretch out the recovery time.
Yeah, and I really feel for the guys who have nothing else in their life to fall back on. Like, I really enjoy a good day off. Like, just drink tea, read books, watch movies. But some guys really struggle with this. All they have is jiu-jitsu. It's kind of
it's very hard.
Their mental health practice.
And it's such a social. It's such a social atmosphere that, like we've mentioned before, almost all of my friends right now are from jiu-jitsu. So if one day I physically cannot do it, it cuts off that line of meeting new people. I mean, the people that I do know from jiu-jitsu, I now can speak to a lot of them outside of the gym. But as far as meeting these new people, and this is still an important part of socializing. So
Yeah.
it is hard to really rest and recover, which to me is recovery is rest and not fighting.
Yeah.
Let's see. And lastly, the Grapplers Diary. This is an Instagram page that we've been enjoying.
So good.
The guy's name is Chris. How do you say that? Chris Wojcik, Wojtek. It looks
Wojcik. Maybe.
it looks Polish.
Looks Polish.
Looks Polish. So translating things people say after rolling. The first one is something I used to get a lot, and a friend told me, hey, when somebody says this to you, this is like the biggest insult you can get in jiu-jitsu. And that is, you're really strong.
Which in your case is true. You are really strong. But what people, the reason this is insulting is we have this idea in jiu-jitsu that technique is supposed to matter more than anything. A weaker guy is supposed to beat a stronger guy. So a strong guy using just strength is kind of going against the jiu-jitsu principle. And I think that's kind of a silly idea, but, you know, is what it is.
Well, Carrie says, thank you for the advice on the recovery. I'm good at drinking water. Sleeping well is hard.
Sleeping well is hard. It's true. Especially we live in cities, light pollution,
noise.
cell phones,
Yeah.
noise. It's tough.
I will
You
say,
got kids, man. It's a whole thing.
Taiwan is very good for forcing people to drink water too. Everybody walks around with a water bottle. The kids in school, they have a water break
Yeah.
at times where you gotta drink your water. The teacher says, "Okay, everybody, drink some
Yeah.
water."
As lead from the front, drink the most water.
Yes, the water drinking is very ingrained in the culture. I don't drink a lot of water. Maybe that's going to lead to my demise, but
Whoa, dude. Oh my god. Drink some water.
I drink when I'm thirsty. So the first thing people say in jiu-jitsu is you're really strong, and what Chris says reads as, your jiu-jitsu is terrible. You beat me up, but it's really just because you have more muscles than me. If we were equal in strength, and I'd have mopped the floor with you. You'd have been laughed out of the gym. You're probably on steroids.
Yeah, and so he's being a little hyperbolic here, a little silly with it. But there's a good point here that like using just pure strength to beat someone in jiu-jitsu is kind of antithetical to why a lot of people are training jiu-jitsu. But at the same time, if you're really strong, then
You gotta use it.
can win.
I do
And you should. Why
I do
not?
think that strength. I don't understand why people they kind of point out strength as cheating, but not flexibility
Yeah.
as cheating, because
speed
they're
or
kind of the
youth.
same. Yeah, speed is also cheating. Youth is cheating.
Yeah.
Flexibility is cheating. What else? Endurance.
Yeah.
All those things are cheating.
Oh, you have a lifestyle conducive to resting? That's cheating too.
You put those years in of exercising.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Take really good care of your body. Ugh.
Number
That's,
two, did you wrestle? And how that translates is you won all of the exchanges from the standing position, and it's probably because you cheated by doing another grappling art before coming to jiu-jitsu. You were also very tough to submit and didn't want to tap to anything. You're lucky I let you off easy, bucko.
Yeah. Wrestlers have a huge advantage when they come to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I know this in a small way. I was a varsity wrestler at a very not good high school wrestling team. And so I think, yeah. And so if you win a dominant match and then they say, oh, did you wrestle? I don't take this as an insult, but
Especially if you actually did wrestle.
yeah. It's like, oh, you put in a lot of work. Oh.
Yeah. Wrestling gives you a huge advantage. Judo, Judo is an advantage
Huge.
coming into jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Any other training you do is huge advantage.
Any other grappling.
If you're a
Grappling.
gymnast,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, that's true.
Breakdancer.
Yeah. Grappling translates well to all other grappling. Gymnastics translates to everything.
Yeah.
Thing number 3. How long have you been training? Inner monologue. Please be longer than me. Please be longer than me. Please be longer than me. Which is true. It sucks when you've been training for 12, 13 years and the guy that's been training for 3 years beats you.
Yeah.
And it happens.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. And it happens. It happens.
Yeah, and more.
Yeah. It's happening more and more.
Especially if they're young, strong, wrestled. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think also jiu-jitsu is there. You have some coaches that have just become much better at teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before. Jiu-jitsu is kind of it's not like a well-established training modality, like say if you're football, basketball, soccer, where there's thousands and thousands of books on how to train these specific sports,
Yeah.
like what drills they should be doing, how they should be eating, how often they should be practicing, how much time they should be spending on each aspect, like how much time should you be spending dribbling, how much time should you be spending shooting. There are courses and certifications on coaching these sports with levels, level 1 coach. So soccer has like multiple levels of coaching certifications. There's so much about how you should train soccer athletes. Jiu-jitsu has none of that. It's kind of, we show you this technique, okay, drill it, try it in sparring. Tomorrow I'll show you a new technique, drill it, try it in sparring. Sometimes we'll review, but we don't really want to review because rolling is more fun. And so it's definitely not as well laid out. Also, jiu-jitsu lacks in general the conditioning that most sports have.
Yeah.
Like the running laps and the push-ups and the burpees that you will do in all other sports, jiu-jitsu doesn't have that. And I think it's probably because it appeals more to the novice and it's part of the business model. Somebody coming from their day at work, they probably don't want to do burpees. They want to do a little bit of drilling and then they want to roll and then go home. I think jiu-jitsu in general, it's just geared more towards the novice, and I think that's part of why it's growing so fast. So that's why there's a huge advantage coming from another sport into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And also there might be some coaches that have figured this out and have laid out a new blueprint of how to do it, kind of like Danaher. There's some guys, Firas Zahabi, guys that are really famous for spitting out really good athletes.
Super geniuses.
Just because they have a system that works. Next one, how old are you? And why would somebody ask you that? I've got my butt kicked. It's only because I'm an old man. If my partner is younger than me and kicks my butt, it's because I'm an old soul. Youth is wasted on the young, and you're only using it to beat me up.
True.
The youth thing is totally true.
Yeah.
I feel the difference from when I started to now. Things that I do, my technique has changed to accommodate for my my lower explosivity. And then I rolled badly because
Just making
insert excuse here.
Any excuse.
This is a dishonorable thing to do and you must never do this.
Oh, you just got me because of
Yeah, don't ever do this. This is in poor taste. If you're injured, mention it before the roll. Say, hey, this wrist hurts. Could you just not wrist lock me on this wrist? And they will do their best to honor that. If they don't honor it, you tap. It's that simple. But after the roll is over, don't say, oh man, yeah, my ankle is a little bit hurt. So yeah, when you got me in that ankle lock, I tapped really quickly. It's just because I had a pre-existing injury. Usually I wouldn't tap to that. Or usually those things don't get me, but insert whatever you want to say there, and the other guy's thinking, this guy.
Yeah, I thought a lot about this. I think the only thing to say after a roll, no matter what happens, is just thank you.
Yes.
That's the only acceptable thing to say.
The
Oh,
only
thank
acceptable
you.
thing to say. Number 6.
Oh,
The last thing. Thank you for the roll.
what a coincidence.
In a world full of excuse-making weenies, there are still a few gentlemen and ladies out there.
Yeah.
After the roll is over, you get smashed, you do the smashing no matter what. This person has put their body on the line to train with you, and you honor that by thanking them.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can say. I mean, you could have a conversation after. You could say, "That was really good what you did there. How did you get my arm like that? Can you show that to me?"
Compliments and questions are okay.
Compliments and questions are
As
okay.
long as they're genuine, you know.
Walking away is okay too.
Walking away is okay.
After the thank you, but no excuses.
Yeah.
No excuses.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's in poor taste. It makes you look weak.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Take your loss and say thank you, and the other guy will be like, "Oh, okay, that was good.
Yeah.
I respect that guy." All good. You ready to roll in this cold?
Oh my God.
In this cold wind.
Yeah, take a moment. And go to the bathroom and be ready. Shout out, I'm in Kaohsiung this weekend. Kaohsiung BJJ showing shin to shin action. Some leg locks, some wrestle ups, some sweeps, some take the backs, some kiss of the dragon. If you're in Kaohsiung, come out. December 16th, I have a match in Taipei. If you're interested in coming, it's going to be live streamed. So, I go to the bathroom and we train.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I have no announcements other than, awesome.
Taipei BJJ on YouTube. We have lots of videos in the back catalog, edited by him. They are very, very good videos.
Here we go. So let's see. Carrie Morgan says, "I'm good at drinking water." Philip Harris says, "You said it to me yesterday." I don't remember. Oh, my coach nagged me. Phil Harris said what to me yesterday? I don't remember. I don't remember what I said to you yesterday, Phil. Was it about training or recovering? Or I don't remember. Oh yeah. Man, it's getting cold. I'm almost done my semester of... Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all I got to say. We've been working on some shin to shin recently. It's been good. What else are we doing? Shoulder crunching. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Yes, thank you, Carrie. We're about to roll. Any other questions? I think that's it. Hold on. Yeah, I've got no other questions. In about, wait around 5 minutes, we're gonna start doing some rolling. Oh man, I should put my sweater on to warm up. Oh, strong. Haha. Yes, the strong excuse. It's true. Being strong always helps. Being strong always helps. Winter is suddenly here.
Hi. Marshall Stanford. Thanks for watching. You want to recover from jiu-jitsu? Drink tea. Taiwan has some good tea. It's pure magic in a cup. It helps. This is prime content. Watch me drink tea. This is why we're here. For prime content like this.
You had some copyright free. For some reason, the last beats provider one got flagged too.
Yeah, it's better to not mess with it. It doesn't really help much.
Sorry.
Yeah. Not worth the risk. A little shit. Yeah. I forgot to do it. Totally wrong. One more, start rolling. Ta-da. Ooh. Oh my god.
Wind. It's windy.
That's so embarrassing. I ran up the mountain on Tuesday. My legs are still so sore. It's so much pain.
You're so close to the mountain. Is that the first time?
Yeah.
It's a nice mountain.
Sucks. Last one. Alright, we're all done. Taipei BJJ on YouTube, Marshall Stamper, Tahric fan. Thanks for watching. Every Friday, 11 a.m. Taipei time, at 7 p.m. in California, Thursday night. Love you.
Thank you.